paving at $72,000. And you can, of course, take into consideration what work they've done for the city before, and also the satisfaction you might have in the work that they do.
Well, I think I need to talk to Milestone again, because again, they're going to fix, the utility department's going to fix 3 of the catch basins up there, which he was going to do 5, so I know those 3 would come out of there. There'd be 3 of them come out of there.
All right.
So I probably need to ask him again.
And you may want to talk to Floyd Krim and find out
Okay.
why their bid it was as low as it was. You get the impression they didn't know the entire job that they were bidding on.
Okay, that'll work. So, we can rescind the motion?
Yeah, and table the bids.
Okay.
I make a motion that we table this until additional information is acquired.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have a motion to rescind the bids. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, I need a motion and a second to table them.
They just motioned in second to table.
Okay, so that's done. So we'll do that another time.
Now, PAL is only good for 30 days.
Oh, well, we meet again in August 15th, so we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, go on to resolution 2016-13. Rosemary, would you like to speak to this?
Troy asked to transfer $250 over to the office supplies from the lab supplies.
Okay, we have a,
Motion to approve the transfer.
need a second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye to pass resolution 2016-13 for $250 transfer from lab supplies to office supplies 214. We had a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Okay. Brad, you're up. Mike's on vacation. It's just an update.
Was anybody wondering what's going on 8th Street?
Yes.
We had a leak at the top of the hill and we broke everything there was on that hill while we was trying to fix it. So I think we got about 10 holes on 8th Street we gotta fix. And if everything goes, I'm supposed to have a guy in here looking at them today. If everything goes right, we'll fix them probably by Friday. Have it back open again. We're gonna leave that section from Summit to Oak closed because some of those cuts, we have to leave them about that deep for the paver, and I'm afraid they'll slide off into the house or something, so.
And break our road valves too, so.
So, sorry about that. For you people that live over there, it was a big mess. Probably the most expensive leak we've ever had by the time we get done fixing it, so. Any other questions?
Okay. Okay. Okay, Robbie?
Which one would you like to take first?
Oh, well, the first one is the cars.
Okay. Phil Hamilton came to me a little while back on some vehicles that we have that are really not operational or we can't use right now. Two of them would have been, we used to use as E-Bot cars for training purposes. And after we put them down at the transfer station evidently for a while for storage, when we went to go move them this spring, the mice have chewed all the wires out of them, and we can't even get them to run anymore. And Phil says it's gonna cost way too much to try to fix them to get them back to that point. So basically, they're only good for scrap. Airbags have been removed. We've put special bumpers on them and stuff, so we couldn't really sell them out here to the public or do anything because they wouldn't pass anything. So we're basically just wanting to take them down to probably integrity and scrap them. Get rid of them. I have some pictures if you wanna. The cars.
John, I have a question. I know these aren't probably suitable for public use due to the safety equipment, but is this something we could open up for bids, maybe to sell for like a demolition derby car or something?
I wouldn't, I mean, the liability of it to
Well,
me
that's
is
what I'm
way
asking.
beyond taking that chance.
Yeah, we talked about selling some other things pursuant to the statute.
I mean, scrap, we're gonna
Public
get
bid and so on.
nothing out of them. Scrap has plummeted. We're basically gonna give Integrity a donation, which I'm fine with, but I didn't know if a salvage yard would be interested, if there's good body parts on them or something that we could look at. If there was a way the city didn't have any liability. I mean, it looks like some of these have good trunks and hoods and things on them. Just a thought.
What do you think, Rob?
And I know recently
mean,
we had an accident, I think, with Matt Reed's car, and we pulled a door off one of these cars, I think. So that would have cost, and I'm not saying the city ought to keep these vehicles, but I'm just saying there's some value there that we might want to research.
I don't know where, I mean, if we go down to Glen Red's, he's only gonna wanna give us scrap price down there too. I mean, that's the only actual junkyard per se in town that deals with
There,
parts or
I think
anything
there's a
like
couple
that.
in Richmond, and I don't know, I'm just asking if there's other options that we could look at, maybe that would
Yeah,
yield the
if they
city.
have any marketable value, they can be sold at, they're, would you say, under $1,000?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, each.
yeah.
If you do that, we have to put them in, open it in a city auction, don't we?
Well, you can sell them at a private sale if the value's under $1,000. Meaning that if you can find someone that wants to buy them for whatever the city feels is reasonable, that you can sell them without going through questions of appraisal, notice published in the paper, and a public auction and so on. So I would say, if they're under 1,000, I would go ahead and see if you can get anybody that wants to buy them. And then if you can't, your only other option is to just salvage, dispose of them as no longer needed for public use.
Can we just go ahead and pass this and with the recommendation that they can pursue other avenues and then leave it up to discretion of them?
Sure,
Okay,
yeah,
instead of having to come back?
right.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to that effect.
Sorry.
So there will be, if people's interested that maybe watch this, they would contact you or Carol? Is that how that would work, or?
Yeah, I mean, as far as selling these to the public though, John, I mean, we're gonna have to have a liability waiver or something signed where they don't take them out here and, because they're gonna have to have a title with it and sign the title over to them that they don't take it out here and then try to operate it on the roadway because they have no airbags or anything in it.
Oh,
That's,
Yeah, there's no airbags in these, I mean, these, they're non-operable, they won't run, they won't do anything. And I don't think you can sell a car per state statute without an airbag in it.
I didn't get the part they didn't run.
Yeah, they don't run, they're inoperable completely. The wires have been completely chewed out of them by rodents. We tried to drive one up here and I think I made it to the entrance of the transfer station and after that it shut down and it never would run again.
And here in this letter also, it says they have made modifications on the cars that they use for training.
Yeah, we've got bumpers welded on them for pit cars because we bang them up and smash them into each other and everything when we're doing.
So maybe it's just best to take it like it is.
Yeah, Tim, the more we're hearing, the more it sounds like they might be a liability to sell as opposed to scrap.
Okay. Well, on John's recommendation, what do you think?
Make a motion to scrap.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Okay.
Okay, the second vehicle, there's some pictures of it. This was the actual original SWAT van that when they started the SWAT team, I believe it was back in 1993. They got this from the government. It's kind of a part of the LISO program where you can get items from the government that you've seen on TV as far as weapons, cars. We've got the Hummers up there that we got through the LISO program. Back in 1993, the paperwork was a little bit different. They didn't have to fill all the paperwork out that we do nowadays. Phil is examining this vehicle, and the underside, the undercarriage of it in the back where the storage part is and everything is not safe. It's rusting out, so it's not safe for anybody to ride back there. So the SWAT guys, we don't want to put people back there, be driving down the roadway and fall out from underneath of it. We're just wanting to get clear to be able to try to sell this vehicle. We've already talked through, Carol's contacted the military, and due to the age on it or anything, the way things were done back then, we don't have to do anything through the government. We have the option to be able to sell it. This vehicle was given to us for free. It didn't cost us $1 when we got it. It's just been the maintenance from us having to keep it up over the years. We've had it for 23 years.
Well,
We've got a lot of use out of it.
and they are wanting to sell it, so a little bit of money will come back.
Right, yeah.
So do you plan to take bids?
I believe she'd been talking to Sheriff Laughlin about, he's supposed to be putting an auction on here possibly soon because we have some of the confiscated vehicles that we have to be getting rid of. And I don't know if she's going to have him maybe put in that with the auction or what she's going to do on it.
The statute requires it to be advertised,
Okay.
and so, I know the sheriff does too.
Right.
So I would encourage Carol to make sure that this is included in the advertised notice for a public sale.
Okay.
Yeah, the sheriff's notice. And that'd be all. They can be sold at public sale for less, if the value is less than $1,000.
And that's, we've been trying to determine what the value is, and we really haven't found anything comparable, like online or anything, with the age that it is and the wear and tear on it or anything.
Okay, I need a motion to give Carol permission to put this vehicle in a sale with the sheriff's department.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Okay.
Recently, Carol and I sat down with Jane Oakley from the Transportation Department out at the high school, and we'd started working on this at the beginning of the year, re-examining the Traffic At program, or the school crossing program for the school crossing guards. We did some research. We tried to date back as far as when it started with our department. There's no paperwork, there's no policy, there's nothing. Carol's contacted other departments around the state, and they're running into the same problem. There's no training program, there's nothing that sets this. There's only the state statute. I believe she made a copy of that. Who can appoint school crossing guards? If you have a safety board, they can do it. The Board of Public Works and Safety can do it. Town board, Board of Public Safety, or the sheriff is the ones that has to appoint school crossing guards. And that, while we were talking to Jane, she pointed out that the school here in Fayette County actually has a policy that no kid is allowed to cross a state highway. We have 3 locations that were permitting that to happen with a school crossing guard. One was at 16th and Central, the other one was at 3rd and Canyon, and the other one at 3rd and Beach. Jane says we can't get around the one at 3rd and Beach for a school crossing guard because they can't get a bus up Summit, the hill on Summit, or up in that area because it's too narrow for the buses to even get up there. So we were kind of wanting to revamp the program and do away with the 2 spots, one at 3rd and Canyon and one at 16th and Central Avenue. There's buses that pick up right up Canyon Avenue, runs right up Canyon for those kids that are walking up there. There's a bus that drives right up Canyon and picks them up. And there's actually a bus that stops at 15th and Virginia Avenue right on the other side of Marsh right there to pick those kids up. And I don't know if these kids are just late getting to school, or they just choose not to get on the bus that stops there, but then we're having a crossing guard sit there and wait, and they cross them across the state road, and then we're violating the school's policy that they have implemented through their program. And Jane was gonna send out a letter to those areas to make sure that the parents knew that, you know, that the policy states through the school that they have to ride a bus, that they can't cross a highway.
Then you might want to talk about Ninth and Grand.
Ninth and Grand, we talked about that with that being it's a traffic light that's there. They're across from the library and crossing the kids from St. Gabriel's to go over there, and we have a traffic light that's right there for that too.
Robbie, is there children in the area that goes to St. Gabriel that walks to school?
I don't know of any. We won't know those numbers until registration is complete. Jane was gonna try to get with that and see if she could find out, because I think some parents write down with some of the spots if they walk to school or not. I think they have to be listed as a walker or a bus rider or a car pickup. We have a lot of car pickups now at the schools. So she wouldn't know final numbers until all the registration is done on what kids were in the areas, just like the one at Third and Beach. She wouldn't know how many kids are crossing from like Summit or Coolidge or anything like that in that area until registration was completed.
So where are they crossing out on Third and Beach? What state highway are they crossing?
That's 44.
So they're crossing from the north side to the south side, is that?
They're coming from the south to go to school to the north side, and then when they go home, they're crossing them back from there at Third and Beach to get over to like Coolidge, up Summit Hill, up in that area, Newkirk, those roads.
But Jane's saying she can't get a bus up there?
She's saying she can't get a bus up there and turn around. She can't make it up Summit, all the way to the top of Summit.
Yeah, but could they have a bus pickup there somewhere?
According to her, there's no place because they're not permitted through theirs to pull a bus on private property and turn around. Because if they do damage to that property when they're turning that bus around, unless they have an agreement with someone, they have to repair the damages.
We can't. Daryl, maybe you can answer this. The city couldn't put a bus turnaround up there so we wouldn't be in violation?
Up on top of the hill?
Well, I'm just saying, widen that road. I own a house on Newkirk. That is not a real, I mean, I would think they could come up to the stop sign, turn and maybe back in toward those apartments and turn back around. And then we wouldn't be in
I don't
violation.
drive a school bus, so I don't know how.
And the
easy it
reason
is to
I
pull
ask,
up
I'm
and
actually
back.
a sub-bus driver for Union County, which have much worse roads than we have. And I know the county several times will put in turnarounds and stuff so that we make sure that the kids get to and from safely.
I don't know, that's just Jane.
I just wouldn't wanna
was
see
adamant
us-
about that.
If we're going to correct all the issues, I wouldn't want to see us leave one undone because we can't get in there. I mean, I don't think that's that tight up there. Like I said, I could see them not wanting to take a bus clear to the top of the hill, but I would think they could come into that four-way and turn around there.
See, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just going off what Jane told
Yeah.
us.
Right,
and
right.
She does have a couple buses, but they're the small buses, and it's for the Head Start program and stuff that pull up in there, but they're just the short buses that go in there. Other than that, according to her, to get a bus in there and get it turned around is.
I know I've had
difficult.
some fairly big equipment and trailers and stuff up there, and I've managed. I drive a school bus. I'm a licensed driver. I mean, I think what you're doing is great. But I don't think we should exempt that one.
Right. And
because of
the
this
only reason
hurdle.
we're exempting that right now is until we can figure out
Right.
something different, and it may end up be that there's no walkers.
And that's what I was going to say. There may not be any kids
Yeah.
up there. That is a
That's something we can work on later.
Right,
but I'm gonna take, the way Jane has made this recommendation, I'd like to follow Jane's recommendation in the police departments.
And we can always come back, if we see there's an
Yeah.
issue later on and we need to revamp it, we can. We were trying to eliminate any of those positions across the state highway, but with that one, with what Jane had recommended to us, that she can't get a bus up there, we were going off of her. That's what she does. She works at the transportation department out there, and she handles that all the time.
So, Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and pass that as was recommended by Carol and Robbie and Jane Oakley. I'd like to go ahead and pass it like that.
I'll make a motion that we follow the chief of
Second.
police, assistance, direction, transportation directors.
So
Recommendation.
I need to ask, what are we passing? We're passing everything but Third and Beach? Is that what we're doing?
No, you're doing away with the Ninth and Grand Avenue, you're doing away with 18th and Eastern,
No, 16th and Central,
I mean, 16th and Central, yeah.
3rd Street and Canyon
And
Parkway.
3rd Street and Canyon. That's the three you're doing away with, and the other four is as is.
Robbie, have you talked to anyone at St. Gabriel's? I see that you want to eliminate a traffic act. Have you talked to anybody at St. Gabriel's?
I haven't, but I think Carol may have talked to Sue last week.
Okay,
Don't quote me, but I think she mentioned something that she talked to Sue about that down there. And I think, and she also, I think she talked to Rita Collins, who usually was the traffic at there too, to talk to her about it.
and I mean, did they feel, and once again, I'm only looking at the safety of the children.
Right.
And I have a great deal of admiration for the traffic outcomes. But would it still be safe for them to cross without a traffic app? You know, these are small children.
Right. I mean, like I said, it's a flashing, it's a traffic control signal there. So there's crosswalks and the crosswalk signals and everything for the kids. I've never been a crossing guard, so, I mean.
I guess
don't
I
know.
hate
I
to
don't-
see
I
that
don't-
eliminated.
I don't know how many kids cross there, and it changes year to year. I mean, you may have one crossing area where there may be 20 kids a day, and then the next year there may only be 2 kids coming across there, and stuff. And I don't know how far they walk from there. They may be crossing other streets from that point on. If they're walking home, they may be crossing 2 or 3 more roads too, there. after
You
they
don't
get
know
out
what
of-
Miss Bart's reaction was.
No, I didn't. I haven't spoke to her, no. And like I said, don't quote me, I think Carol did speak to her briefly, but I'm not for sure.
And a lot of this was done because through the budget restraints and everything, we're just trying to figure out a way to save a few bucks here and there, so,
Oh, and I'm all for that, but I want to save lives also.
yeah.
And I know that this is 1 through 6, K through 6. And I just look at that as a traffic app being, good, and the $32 isn't gonna break the city up. Now, the ones where we're talking about Third and Beach and out on the highway, that seems dangerous for the children. And I certainly think that needs to be considered, but I guess I.
Well, we can do this, and then if things change, we can always put it back. But right now, like he was saying, you put a traffic head at 9th and Grand, and then they get over to 9th and Central. Well, now you're crossing another highway. There's no traffic at there, and then if you go over to 9th and Eastern, there's no traffic at there. So, I would think a lot of these kids would be picked up by their parents rather than to walk. Maybe the 6th graders might walk, but I'm
I don't
not.
know, I don't know how many kids walk from, like I said, without the registration numbers and what they sign up, if they're going to do that, we won't know how many kids are walking or coming and going until all that's finalized there.
For me to vote in favor of this, I think we need to know that information. The registration numbers.
Well, you're getting into the school season, so
I
once you
understand.
okay this,
The more,
it's for the next rest of the year.
the more I think about this, though, I know there's young kids that live up there on Summit and Newkirk, and that is right by Frazee. So if you move that traffic cop,
No,
Those-
he's staying. The one at 3rd and Summit's staying.
oh, okay. I thought you
Third
said.
Beach is staying.
That's Beach is a.
Oh, I thought you said that one was leaving.
No,
the
Third
tra-
Beach.
Because they can't turn the bus around.
All
That's
right.
the one that, yeah,
All
they
right,
can't turn the
okay,
bus
okay.
around or get a bus effort. That one, we can't, until we find out numbers or things change, we have to keep the
So,
one at 3rd and Beach. for
Number
right
2
now.
is staying.
2 is staying, 1, 4 and 6 are the ones that we're asking to be removed.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah, that's the one we can't get a bus, she can't get the bus up there to turn around, and until we can figure out a different solution on that, we have to maintain one there.
So
For
1,
right now.
4, and 6. And 7's going away. Is that right?
No, 7 is staying.
Oh, all right, okay.
That's 18th
Just
Nation.
1, 4,
I
and
I get Central.
1, 4, and 6 are the only ones that we're looking at. See, they did away with Eastview at 5th and Fountain a few years back because that was crossed on State Highway there too.
Is 5 staying on Grand?
Yes, that's right out in front of Grandview School.
Right, okay.
To get those kids across because Miss Hubbard at the new principal up there has changed the policy on pickup. So you'll have cars out front picking up and dropping off. So we want to keep that one, so those kids are going to be going between cars up there. And Grand's a main thoroughfare that there's a lot of traffic that goes up and down through there in front of that school.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Okay, I need a motion, I need all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passed, all right. Now we have to hire the trafficettes, that right? We have to hire them?
Correct, that is per the statute as far as you being the ones to hire.
Okay,
I think there's a list of them.
there's a list of them, yeah. I'd like to see Rita Collins kept, Patricia Ham, Cheryl Corner, Heather Foy as the regulars, and the rest on that list to be kept as subs. Okay.
So you're
Do the
recommending,
traffic ads know that this is going on?
Yes, Carol contacted all of them last week and spoke to all of them. She also told them that once this is passed, we'll be writing a new policy. And Carol contacted somebody from the state about training to find out if there's any mandated training. And that's something else that we're gonna be looking into, that they're gonna have yearly training before they go out here to do it. As far as we know, there's never been any at all.
No, when he started researching this, there was a lot of things that, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. So this is all new. It's all being redone through Carol and Robbie's work.
And
So
I believe Carol talked to, may have been through RPD Richmond. She talked to somebody up there that handles them, and they're in the same issue that we're in right now, redoing it because there's no policies, there's no training, there's nothing out there. And they're trying to redo their program also on it.
How long have some of these traffic ads been on duty? The ones that we're getting ready to vote on? I mean, you talk about no training.
yeah, there's no records.
I know,
I know, but I'm thinking they've probably been on the job that they could give
I
training
know.
sessions.
Rita Collins, I think, told Carol the other day she'd been doing it for 20 years.
Okay.
Okay.
So she could probably do a
She could probably
program
do
on
the
it.
training, yeah, but Carol contacted somebody through the state, manual traffic control people. She's actually the lady that brought the speed signs down. She handles that through the Purdue Extension. And she said if she can't find a policy and training, she will create one herself to pass out to the departments, since she's kind of in charge of that at the state level.
Is there anything Jane can do to help us as far as incorporating these traffic with the bus? Because they're required to do an annual safety
Right.
training as well. I don't know
I don't
if that's an
know.
option.
As far as her training, if it's the same.
Yeah.
This is more of a manual, you're stepping out in front of traffic and stopping cars and stuff, so.
Well, and I know a lot of the bus training hits on that same thing to make sure that kids are alert, that they are waiting for motions before they board a bus. So some of that might be able to be merged together. I don't know if we could
Yeah, I don't know.
partner with her.
I know Carol talked to the lady from the Purdue whatever office on that had the signs, and she was gonna look into something and pass it on our way.
Now, Carol and Robbie's been working on this pretty heavily. So a lot of the things you're asking, they've already thought about and done, and so they're on top of it. So
Well, but we need the information too,
Yeah.
if we're voting on it.
Okay, I made a, well,
I'll make a motion, we accept your recommendation to hire those folks. Rita Collins, Patricia Ham, Cheryl Corner, Heather Foy, and then the others would be substitutes.
A second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, Rob, I guess this is your day, I guess.
Yeah, one more thing.
Yes, sir?
After reviewing another policy, or another thing that we had, that we found out there was no policies or anything. We had some gentlemen, and used to be a lady that helped with like traffic control issues, if they would help at ball games, parades, things like that and stuff. Come to find out that there was no policy ever written on that. We don't know if they had any training, because there was no training done through our department or anything like that on it. So we're wanting to, as of right now, terminate the program until we can get some issues straightened on that also. There was four gentlemen that helped out with that. John Foy, Mr. Fuller from Sherwood-Williams, Alex Rose, and Earl Connor. I know Earl's been doing it for a long time. He actually used to be over at over at Adrian's place when he originally started. I think he said he'd been doing it for 30 years, volunteering his time to do traffic and stuff like that, help with the ball games up there with traffic in and out. But until we can get some things lined out, get policies and stuff like that, we're kind of wanting to terminate the program until we can get some things lined out for our purposes and stuff.
You know, the one thing that cities and towns want more than anything is volunteers. And it seems like we're slamming the door on our volunteers. And I find that, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. We should be happy that we've got the volunteers. Yes, if they need training, fine, but
Well, I think what he's referring to is if someone gets hit in the street, we're responsible for all their medical bills and stuff. You might want to explain a little bit of that, Rob.
Yeah, Carol had talked to Brad Wilson over at Wilson Lawson and asked him, find out what our responsibility was on that. If they were involved, well, up until that time, they really weren't covered by anything because they'd never been added or anything at that time. If they were hit by a car directing traffic, it would pay up to $25,000, and that's it. So anything after that would be either their responsibility or they would have to come back to the city and ask us to, take care of it or whatever. If they caused a wreck out here when they were directing traffic and two cars collided, then that would fall back on us also. So there was a lot of liability in it without any training or any policies written or anything like that until we could get some things cleared up and stuff. Where through Adrian over here with his volunteers that he has through his office, they are all covered by all that because of through the federal program or whatever that he's involved in and stuff, that all them volunteers are covered over there. And that's who actually that Carol used this weekend for the parade. Volunteers were from Adrian's office over there, and he's offered any that we need, if we're more than welcome to call and ask him, and he would provide those guys for traffic or whatever.
So these volunteers could go over and work for Adrian, and they don't have to worry about anything. Whereas right now, if they work for us and they're involved in an accident, we're going to have to take care of it. So.
oh, I understand all that. I'm just saying that it's such a shame when people like you mentioned have volunteered their time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're saying, we don't need you anymore. And we do need volunteers.
We're not saying we don't need them. We're saying that we don't have the policy and the liability stuff covered as of right now. Okay, and we can always reactivate the program once we get things done, but there's no training there's no policies written, there's nothing. It's just that we've walked up and handed somebody this uniform and this shirt and said, here, go out and direct traffic. Because they said they wanted to. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
Oh.
I don't want them to get hurt, I don't want anybody else to get hurt or anything like that. So until we can re-examine it, and we may, reenact it later on, but until we do that time, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way.
So I've got a couple questions, and I do agree with where you're headed. John, this didn't happen overnight. How did we deal with this before? I mean, we've been using these people for decades in the city. And I agree with
Well-
Annette, we shouldn't be pushing our volunteers out the door.
Now, the group that we had only started under the last administration, I believe. Before that, those were Adrian's volunteers that
Okay.
went through the EOC over there, and she
So-
was using them before.
So under Leonard's leadership, that should have been addressed then, so.
No, what was done then and what would be done now is any volunteer for any job for the city, for the benefit of the city, would be what's called a rostered volunteer. And an example would be the folks that were volunteering their work in the city cemetery. Yeah, we got a group of rostered volunteers, meaning that they signed a document agreeing to certain things and accepting certain things and so on. And then we had them register with our insurance agency. And they were then under the insurance coverage of the city, just like a policeman would be or anyone else.
Could we not do the same thing with these people directing traffic?
Well, that would take care of liability issues. It still doesn't take care of the failure of to have any policy in place or whatever else is necessary.
I mean,
But,
could we enact that type of thing and maybe suspend the use of them until we had the policy and the training completed? I wouldn't think that would be a real cumbersome task.
Well, this is not suspending them. This
It's a
is,
termination of the program.
it's just
until we can-
it's the program that's being ended.
No, I'm saying do as John mentioned with the cemetery folks, have them sign the waiver for liability, and then Carol and Robbie put together a training plan, but we would not use them until that training was complete, whether that was 30 days or whatever, to get that plan in place. I'm not in favor of pushing our volunteers away. A city the size of ours, we need everybody we can to get on board
Well,
to
they're
help.
they can go to Adrian's and Adrian can use them. They just don't have, right now, the time to sit down with all these guys to show them all this stuff.
Well,
And
and
the
I'm not-
liability is outright, I mean, they
I'm not
cause a
familiar
wreck.
with Adrian. I mean, I know who he is, but if we use him, is that a cost to the city or?
No.
No, these are all volunteers that he have that help with the EOC over there and stuff. And those guys do a lot over there. They weather watch with Adrian when we have inclement weather. He'll send them out to areas to watch. They help with traffic control. If we have a wreck and we have to shut down a road for numerous hours, and we call Adrian, ask him if a couple of his guys would come, they're more than welcome to come and stand there and block traffic for a while for us, so we can free up officers and put them back out on the streets.
This is the civil defense, right? The old civil defense that
Yes,
you're talking
yes,
about.
yes. I think they've just.
They've directed traffic for years. I can remember them directing traffic at Coco's Drive-In.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's been decades, even before the previous administration.
So, I mean,
They
what
weren't
the-
to our department though, they were through Adrian's
Okay.
department
Right.
over there. Actually, it was when Dave was in charge over there, they had him back then too, when Dave was the head of the EOC.
Counselors.
Yeah,
So basically what the chief is recommending is, they're gonna honor these four persons as volunteer, but it's gonna fall under the umbrella of Adrian Ellis and his group,
Right.
and which has the liability and all that. So, I.
And like I
don't
said,
see
when
a
he
problem.
gets his, when they get our policy set, we might be able to have a city volunteer
Right.
program.
I know in Carol's notes here, it says that the volunteers over at Adrian's, they have liability and workman's compensation coverage through the state and the county, where ours is just limited to the city of when we, on our guys.
So is the current plan to terminate and to work on a policy?
Right now, it's to terminate until we can reevaluate everything.
So that they, yeah.
So working on the policy to reenact or to revitalize this is not on the table.
Not as of right now, no.
Okay,
Okay,
we can vote.
I'll take a motion, I'll take a motion on the policy to be terminated for right now.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 2-2. I'll vote aye. Okay.
Robbie, I would like you and Carol to reconsider looking at the policy.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you. If I can be any help, let me know.
Thanks, Rob.
A lot of help right now. Anything else?
That'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie.
Okay. You have the claims of the city. Let's see, wait a minute. Did I miss something? Oh, yeah, miss old business. Is there any old business? If not, is there any miscellaneous business? I do want to encourage everybody to go to the fair. We have a company coming in. It's called Rejuvitech. They're going to be updating some of our roads with a spray. So if you see stuff pink on the ground, don't worry about it. It will turn black. So, all right. But I'll announce that. And now I have the.
I do have one thing under miscellaneous.
Okay.
I think this, Robbie, I believe this falls under the police, but I've noticed there is many properties around that have very, very tall grass. I don't know, is that under the department, the police department?
That's under me.
I don't know where we're at on that. I even know on the parade route. We drove by one on the parade route. The grass is tall, and I know you guys are sending out letters and things, but I don't know if there's anything we can do better to expedite, or if we can volunteers mow that? I mean,
Talk to
Volunteers. John, can volunteers mow grass?
I mean, on main roadways and stuff, it just looks, and I get the police department have their hands tied and you guys got to go through formalities and stuff, but on special days like that, you know, when I went by there, I thought, what a shame, you know, could somebody come by with a weed whacker and knock these weeds down where people aren't traipsing through.
Yeah, they would need to work through the city's insurance before they even start doing anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
And
that wouldn't
Robbie,
be
I
too
will tell you,
difficult.
because of the 8th Street Hill being closed, or Brad, I've traveled different areas. And I have to agree with Tim, is that it is really getting out of hand. And if we want to showcase our city, that would be something that would be nice, if we could. at
Well,
least
I
cut
assure you,
grass.
the street department's doing everything they can to keep up with this.
Oh, I
And,
believe
you know,
that.
there's nothing anymore that I would rather do is to fix some streets than go around, keep mowing grass and mowing grass and mowing grass. Because that is a waste of our revenues, it's a waste of our city people's time. But I agree, I do know that Robbie and the street department is doing everything to keep ahead of this. And, you know, if people want to grab a weed eater and go to it, I mean, you know, we can do it ourselves right here. If you know.
But, you know,
so-
what I would like to say is, hello, Connersville, this is your responsibility. This
Yeah.
isn't the city's responsibility, mow your grass.
I agree, but a lot of the people their grass, a lot of these people don't even live in town.
Yes.
And they have to
that's-
spend time,
that's
day,
it.
hour after hour searching for them and then go through the legal process to get them. And I mean, I would rather, like, I don't want to say it on TV, but anyway, I know what I'd like to do to the grass, but I don't know if John will let me do it.
Buy weed killer by the bulk?
I can't say that. But anyway,
No,
But
I
I
mean,
do believe it's the property owner's responsibility to do that. We all know that.
yeah.
And, you know, we're faced with it where we live. And why the property owner, you know, I'm almost to the point of calling the bank myself and say, hello there, you know.
Yeah. And Robbie and them, they do that. And
I've sent out 60 letters this year. And they've mowed, what, you're just on remows right now?
Yeah, we're on remodels right now. We finished the last one you gave us last week.
And they've mowed 17 yards this year, I believe, is what they're taking care of.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, yeah.
And that's, I mean,
yeah.
and
You know,
I
I want to
Never
make
ending
it
battle.
clear, I am in no way shaming the different
Oh.
departments.
I
I think
didn't
you're
take it
doing a
that way.
great job. I'm just saying there is something to personal responsibility of a homeowner. And you guys shouldn't have to go out and cut my grass just because I'm not around to do it.
Right. It's an unnecessary burden on our city, and I do think you guys are doing a great job. But there is several that I notice, and like Annette, maybe we need to go to the banks and say, look,
Yeah.
you guys got to help us out, because it looks, and I'm sure that,
Yeah.
You're not gonna get any, I've called banks, I've sent emails to banks.
right?
And, I mean, if you get something done, great, because I can. I mean, I just sent letters out to Florida, Idaho, and South Carolina the other day.
Yeah. And I was going to ask how many letters we had sent out, and it sounds like you guys are,
60.
sounds like we're consuming a lot of time on this. That
Yeah, and it's how much, the center certified, how much is it?
$7 per letter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And a lot
Okay.
of those don't even get signed, they just get returned to us. So
I know
that's-
we're doing our best. I just wanted to bring it up that I've noticed several that it seems like we're hitting a wall on. I guess trying to get the owners to respond. So
It
Like-
takes every bit of, by the time you send the letter out, you wait the 10 days and then they get the work order and stuff, you might be looking between 30 and 40-day turnaround time.
But
Meanwhile,
I
it
think my
rains.
biggest issue is not you guys. You guys are doing your job. My biggest issue is with the homeowners, the property owners. Hello, get off your duff, mow your grass.
But like I said, a lot of them don't even live here.
But you know what? That's still their responsibility to hire someone to do it.
Well, that's what he's working on. He's trying
Not
to,
take Robbie and everybody.
you know, because there's nothing anymore, you know. I see potholes and I know the guys are out working, trying to get them done in between mowing their grass and everything. And there's nothing I would rather do than was get out and fix the streets for people to drive on than to go back and, so you're on your second cutting now?
Yeah.
See, so
But you know what?
that's a lot of man hours. So,
Gerald, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm just saying, it's not their responsibility. I'm more angry with the property owners than I am with what the city is doing. I think you're
I
doing
would
it.
ask that you take caution about putting the volunteer word out there, because this is not just mowing, folks. You have no clue. You have no clue. Well, 523 West 7. I know we've already hauled 7 loads out. We're not done. And
loads.
I'm talking trash and just everything. So I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
especially if they're gonna fall under our umbrella of insurance, I would be very, very careful about using that volunteer word. Because
And it sounds
They're
like
gonna get hurt.
it sounds like we've got some policies we need to take in consideration. I just brought that up as a question, but it sounds like it's just one of these deals we're just going to have to work through as quick as we can. And I do think you guys are doing a great job with the number of people we have.
I mean, I served on city council for 20 years and this is nothing new. Nothing new. So, you know,
I know I've had a few people ask me, "Hey, can't you do something about my neighbor's yard?" And so I thought I would bring it up, but I'll just let them know that we are plugging away as hard as we can, and we'll keep doing that. So
Well, I can say, if it was my next door neighbor
I know,
and I had to live next to it,
that's what
I
happened
know.
over
but that's just me.
yeah.
That's not everybody else in town.
And I know
It's
some
me.
of them have did that. They'll
And they
mow it.
have, yeah.
They'll mow it every couple weeks or something to keep it under control.
Yes.
So. Okay. All right.
okay.
Sorry we got off on that rabbit trail.
All right, we'll go ahead and bring up the claims, Tim.
All right. For utilities, we had a total of $177,758.39. For the city, $300,751.94.
Okay, you heard the claims, the price of the claims. Is there a motion in a second?
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Passed. Okay, open up for public forum. Bob, you got anything you want to say?
Too many cats in town.
Okay. All right, anything the council has to say?
If not, I'll move to adjourn.
So moved.
All, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Adjourned.